Good evening. Good evening, my dear friends. I hope that you can see me and you can hear me well. I was very happy to sit here and read your comments and your messages for your introductions. So please confirm that you can hear me, and the sheriff says that you can hear me and you can see me well. And I have missed you a lot. This was like 2 weeks of many different things happening around the world. Everything gets crazier and more chaotic and more dangerous. So I feel like it's a necessary conversation with family. I hope you get this very same feeling. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to be sweet. Sometimes I do, but not saying this. Because with all this like craziness happening everywhere, I'm so happy that we have us. We may have some slightly different opinions on something, but in general, we are people united by love for freedom, respect for human life, and dignity. Dignity is not just a word. Please forgive this long introductory phrase, but I'm so happy that we have us. and well, I am here, protected by an amazing team of moderators. And this is, of course, Spencer and Martin and Philip and Rudy and Michael. And so happy to see you, friends. Trev, hugs to you and thank you for your support. Pat, thank you so much for all your comments and ideas. And Iman, I was reading your comments before I started. Greetings to beautiful Nice and Francois. And Carlos, siempre. I love, like, I will speak Spanish in the second part. And greetings to Stockholm. Greetings, Rudy. Greetings to Wales. Let's just spend some minutes introducing people and where you're from watching us. Greetings to Portugal, Carlos. And Sweden again. I love it that we share national colors, and I keep talking about that. And the Netherlands and Malta and Orleans, New Orleans and Scotland and Denmark. Thank you so much, Neil, and greetings to the UK and Texas and Massachusetts and Canada and Denmark and Australia and the UK, of course. We feel your unchanging support. And it's, to tell you the truth, greetings to Italy. It's so interesting that we have countries that are strong supporters of Ukraine, and we are very grateful that in times of all these challenges, of constant Russian shellings, we don't need to explain to people that Ukraine is worth defending. And at the same time, it's also amazing that people from the countries where governments do not stand with Ukraine or stand against Ukraine also demonstrate the support and understanding and want to know more. Greetings to Nebraska and Orebo. I hope sound is correct. And Pennsylvania and Belgium. And I know that many people watch us from Australia and New Zealand. And it's really early there. So to some extent, that is not so simple. Greetings to Minnesota and Canada, of course, and Ireland. And I'm really happy to see all of you here. I know that in the United States, it's the Flag Day, if I'm not mistaken. And you have a beautiful flag, and it stands for a very beautiful country. I congratulate you with that. And let's hope that all this turbulence and weird foreign policy will pass and everything will return to its normal. We're working on that in Ukraine. Greetings to Finland and greetings to India. Beautiful country that I would love to see one day. And I've told you that in my childhood, I was a huge fan of Indian films. That is true. Thank you so much, William, for buying me coffee. And thank you so much, Rudy. That is very important, and I'm always grateful to the people who join as patrons, as sponsors, or buy me coffee. And thank you so much, Serkan, and greetings to Turkey. And thank you, Serkan, for supporting our community in a very, very, very strong way. And I want to congratulate us with finalizing our 5th NEFO campaign. We've collected a lot, 82,000 euros, and that's all you. And it is more than help, it's more than solidarity, it's real drones that will keep demilitarizing evil objects in Russia, and trucks that will save Ukrainian warriors. And this time we literally had the coolest units, the ones that operate in the hottest zones of the front lines. And actually, I will meet them all soon, and you will get more details, because I'm always very proud to speak about them to you and to speak about you to them. This is such a great feeling of being, like between you, amazing people who support Ukraine from far away, and people who know how to use that support to make the world a safer place. Thank you so much, Gary. And I'm always proud to be with NEFO 69 Sniffing Brigade. I know they have a weird name, but they are doing just fantastic, amazing things, and they are always very transparent, very dynamic, and they know how to work with everyone. So thank you so much. And I have picked a complex topic for a discussion today. Thank you so much, Gary, for your strong support, continued support, and friendship. And I have picked quite a complex topic for our conversation today. And actually, it turns out that Saturdays are quite busy days for me, because we will have this our conversation right now. Then there will be a vlog on the channel where we will have a Russian geography lesson, and trust me, there's a lot of material to talk about. And also, there is a video on my new channel that will appear soon, and it will be about a very interesting topic about nuclear weapons in Ukraine, and how do we feel about giving them up? Can we restore the potential? And actually, you will know my opinion on that. Do I support the idea of Ukraine becoming nuclear one day? And also, well, like, do people in Ukraine consider this option, and so on. I see that my moderators explain some things. Once again, if comments keep disappearing or something like that, that's not our job. We typically speak with you, and it's YouTube that sometimes erases the comments that are emotional, or keep some stop words not said by me but by YouTube, or there are waves. And sometimes even when I speak to you, I answer questions, and I may find my comments deleted, which is very unusual. But those of you who keep communicating with me through these years and months might have noticed that this comes in waves, just like, I don't know how to explain that, just like YouTube weather. That's the comparison that I have come up with. So today I wanted to speak about Russia, NATO, and the conflicts that grow hotter and more problematic, and the world is becoming dangerous. I know some of you say it's a Techo day. I know that, but it's also the day when many other good people have their best days. So we cannot let this day be spoiled by Donald Trump's birthday. And I also know that someone was speaking about You know, Trump is a businessman, so it's all about deals. Thank you so much, Duncan. Any business can be successful truly and sustainable truly only if it is built on some morals and normal relationships. And I am not sure that, moral relationship can be with Putin. And it was so disgusting. Well, okay, let's start with these emotions that I have. First of all, it was very, very unpleasant for me to see Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, congratulating Russia with the Russia National Day. First of all, it was not necessary at all. Even if you want to keep negotiating, anything like that, it was not necessary. Then he did it on behalf of the American people. A phrase like that or similar was used. And I believe it's not okay because at least half of the people, actually, I think more. I actually think that even among Donald Trump supporters, there are a lot of people who still naturally consider Russia an enemy. Thank you so much, Tony. So it was very disgusting. Once again, it was not necessary. If they want to pretend that negotiations exist or if they want to start trade with Russia, still, it's not necessary to congratulate Russia. It's just like congratulating Hitler in 1942. Also, words about Russian people striving for their beautiful future. What do you mean by that? Just like it's not okay at all. And King Charles, by the way, is a very different kind of person. And I like it how he, I guess, ignores Donald Trump. And Donald Trump wants to be a king, but will never become one. Because it's not just about birth, aristocracy, and rights. It's also about morals, values, behavior, and even personal choices. Yeah, but Rubio shifts with the wind. Yeah, but to tell you the truth, what's the purpose of having that position of naming yourself Secretary of State if you do not have your own like red lines, if you do not build a policy the way you want? I'm sorry. And it looks very very sad because from my perspective, if you want to be a leader, if you want to possess power, if you want to occupy a specific position in the government or elsewhere, you want it because you want to do something, you want to be a doer, you want to implement your vision of life. That's what I see as a leadership. That's the only reason to become a president or something like that. And what we observe with people around Donald Trump is they either disappear or they have to repeat everything Donald Trump says. And it erases their personalities. It actually ruins their future political careers. That's what I think. I wouldn't like to be a Secretary of State that does not have a right to speak for himself and that has to congratulate Russia with the Russian Day, wishing them prosperous future. I'm sorry, but the prosperous and successful future of Russia is very different thing than prosperous and good future of the USA. Even if we forget about Ukraine, it's either the world runs according to the US and Western vision or according to Russia and China's. Unfortunately, no neutrality is possible here. So that is very sad. And that was one of this really disgusting things this week to see once again Rubio congratulating. And just before our stream started, there was information that Trump spoke with Putin for an hour on his birthday. How can you explain that? What can you say? Just like guys, having listened to the way Trump spoke with Mertz and how he, misinterpreted this attitude of people in Germany towards the defeat of the Nazi regime, I realized that if Trump lived back in 1942, he would definitely be friends with Hitler, and he would call him, and he'd be happy if Hitler ordered him something, and he would definitely be doing some business deals. And here I want to quote Gilbert, who says that ruble is 0.011 euro. And that is, of course, a proof, but we have war in Iran right now. And from one point of view, from the Ukrainian point of view, Iran is our enemy, because you all know that Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, they fight together. And they also exchange their military information. Iranian drones terrorize Ukraine all the time. But this also means rising oil prices. And if Israel will keep destroying oil facilities in Iran as they have started today, and if they will, Iran in return will block some straits in the sea, the oil prices will skyrocket, and this will be very good for Russia. And you know that already 20,000 anti-drone missiles that were given to Ukraine by the United States were taken back. Thank you so much to Balkane. Thank you. Were taken back and redirected to the Middle East. And it is very, very difficult for us. And I will not return back to that. But yesterday, it was so beautiful to watch how allies from the United Kingdom, from France, from the United States stopped drones above Israel. And it was beautiful, and it saved a lot of lives. And nothing like that happened in Ukraine. Neither Israel nor Ukraine are members of NATO. And actually, we cannot understand why is that so, and especially how many people were talking like it was all over the news that 100 drones is heading to Israel, when every day 100 drones is heading to Kyiv, just Kyiv. And it is very sad, because I remember this awful attacks on Mariupol, when the whole city was destroyed. Thousands of innocent people who were killed, and it happened for weeks. And we were asking for the closed skies. There is no way it is an escalation if you are shooting in Ukraine missiles, not even Russian aircraft or drones, closing the skies. Well, people kept dying. You remember that Mariupol theater with children on the roof, written on the roof, and nobody helped. Nobody closed the sky. I don't know why is that. I don't have an explanation for that. I don't know why it's so different. And listening to Pete Hegseth speaking, and not being able to give numbers of some major enemies, ships, or anything else, it was very very uncomfortable and worrisome. And he is very unprofessional, and I have to say so. And yesterday, one of the things that actually pushed me to have this conversation with you today and to discuss this Russia testing NATO and the potential future attacks on NATO from the Russian side, because I don't know the name of the man but he was the one asking. It's so interesting. Of course, Zelensky cannot ask Netanyahu's weapons because Netanyahu needs weapons a lot. And Israel is just like my region. Ukraine is like 10 or 15 times bigger than Israel, and Israel does not have that much. And most importantly, there are a lot of things that Israel gets from the United States. So it's not that they can give us anything. They are not in that position, especially right now. Thank you so much, Marcel, and thank you so much, Ed. So I want to return back. Guys, it's weird that you're asking questions about my relatives. I don't have Karina relatives, but even if I had some relatives, it's not the things that I would speak. I actually think that at this moment of time when lots of my colleagues do not disclose a lot of things, I don't feel like disclosing a lot. But I don't have a relative called Karina Danilchuk. I don't. So let's concentrate not on my relatives, but on more important things, because at this moment in time, just as the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, I think that we are very close to the global conflict, to something way bigger than we experienced before. And honestly, I don't see any reasons for Putin not to attack NATO. Before I will start talking about more things and details and why I think so, I would like to ask you a question. Do you believe that, let's say, during this year, Russia can provoke NATO or attack at least a tiny territory of a country that is a member of NATO? Tell me, please, like yes or no, or maybe you can write the percent and so on. Do you believe that Russia can test NATO right now? Okay, many people say yes, some people say no. Okay. Good. Then, not set on 20%. That's interesting. Okay. This already happened. No. Power to do this. Okay. Then I have a question to those people who answered no. And once again, I would love to be on your side, even though I am on the side of those people who say yes. At this moment, I believe yes, and my probability is like 90%. But let's make it a civilized discussion, and I want to hear your arguments. I would be very interested in that. So now I'm asking those people who said no, why do you think Russia will not dare to do that? What is the reason that makes you believe NATO countries are safe? So, what makes you feel safe because you are a NATO country and so on? It's really interesting for me. I will not, once again, I'm not a military expert, and it may be that you are right. Trump has already begun to weaken article Swalki Gap. We will talk about that. Russia can try to test NATO with cyber warfare. In a nuclear war, no one wins, everyone loses, not this year, but later. There is no reason to madness. Why not? Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia are a part of Soviet Union in Putin's mind, and they are NATO countries, so why not? Okay, unity is strength, strength is safety. I agree with you. They will test the no definite, but why not? Ukraine keep Europe safe, but if Ukraine runs out of missiles, if Ukraine anti-drone missiles are taken away, if no military aid is given and Russia is supplied by China and North Korea, well, you can guess. Obviously, they're so defending us, but like we can also expire. I don't like it, but if nobody helps us and everybody helps Russia, including the White House, guys, miracles do not exist. We have to be realistic. any other reasons why you think this will not happen? I actually want to find strengths in your message. I would like you to persuade me that it won't happen. So, they know they don't have the military power. It would be done as a plot. I didn't. Okay. Net has never been attacked before. Okay. But no specific answers. Waste of logistics. Putler possibly as a. Okay, so I see that you're not providing this. Like many people believe in the strengths of NATO. And once again, it's not that many people are watching us as ordinary vlogs. I will be more open with you. I'm not sure, like when I always speak about the need of NATO for Ukraine because together we can be stronger, but I am not sure that NATO will outlive this war. This will be like my vision of the situation. It may not sound very positive, but with this totally mad American foreign policy, with Putin's and Trump being best friends, and Trump speaking nonsense about why people don't like Russia. Putin fought in the Second World War. It was another disgusting moment of this week. So, do you know, first of all, NATO did not fight real war in Europe and modern war. NATO was preparing for old-style wars, for something they did in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and it's very different what is happening on the front lines in Ukraine. An interesting fact, do you know what is the reason of 80% of Russia's casualties on the front lines? What is the weapon that causes 80%? Guys, the Balkans were also an old-style war with tanks, with armored vehicles. So 80%, you are right. No, not artillery. 80% of Russian casualties on the front lines are FPV drones. FPV drones. Now, name me at least one country in NATO that Baltics cannot defeat the, I'm sorry, but Baltics, like, once again, what you don't understand is the sizes. And if Baltics are not supported by NATO, and this may happen with Trump's guidance, Baltics is just like two of my regions. And in Ukraine, we have 24 such regions. And my region is the smallest. What you forget quite often is the size of Ukraine. The size of Ukraine is big, and many countries that surround Russia are way smaller, and it's easier to cross them. First of all, 80% of Russian casualties on the front lines are caused by FPV drones. Now, there is a question. Can you name me any NATO country that has seriously operating with practical experience and a lot of different developments in drones? What country can fight, what NATO country can fight with drones? And all what Ukraine and Russia does now and Iran does now, fight with drones. You've seen how we destroy aircraft with drones. You've seen how we destroy convoys with drones, which means all of the NATO aircraft, all of the NATO convoys do not play that role that they sought. For decades, the alliance was trying to collect more resources, but these were tanks, these were aircraft, because they thought that the war will be like the Second World War, like the Balkans. you've reminded me about, or like Iran or Iraq. But it's different. It's different. It's the war of drones. It's the war of swarms of drones, flocks of drones. It's operated by AI. There is no such in France, in the UK even. People will have to develop them, but this takes years. So 80% of the casualties are now caused by FPV drones. And people, these casualties are caused among Russians who, I have to say, together with Ukrainians, know how to fight with FPV drones. Imagine if other armies participate who do not have this experience at all. What will happen to people who do not have this experience at all? Now, many of you wrote that, like, there is no country, there is, like, we know that this war and all the modern wars will evolve very quickly with, once again, AI, with all these technologies that happen to detect, to identify. And you've also mentioned that no NATO country knows how to do that. Now I have a question to you. No, guys, I know it's just like it's a very optimistic thing about Latvia, that it is one of the second leaders of drone coalition. They, of course, support us, but they don't have troops who do that. They do not send them on the Ukrainian front lines because the decision was no boots on the ground. Chinese, Iranian people, North Korean people are on the Russian side and get this information and train. But what they do right now, many NATO countries, they actually ask our instructors to go and train them in. And now it is a very vice versa process. I'm sure you remember how at the beginning of this war, lots of NATO instructors trained Ukraine. Now Ukrainian instructors train NATO. But this is a very slow process and not that many people who can leave Ukrainian front lines to go and train people in the UK. And the fact that not so many people know how to do it, that we have discussed, that no specific troops, no specific skills, no specific facilities. We know that. Don't you think Russia knows that? Don't you think Russia knows that right now, during the next couple of years, Europe does not have the facilities and the United States is paralyzed with Donald Trump? Isn't that the perfect moment for Putin to test NATO? Isn't that a perfect moment? Do you understand that by that decision to not send soldiers to Ukraine, not to escalate, actually professional armies, professional soldiers, I'm not speaking about your children or grandchildren, but those who have chosen a profession of a soldier, they did not get this valuable experience because of cowardice, because of weakness. Now, not just for the sake of helping Ukrainian people. That's not important in the modern world. Forget about that. I don't mean you. I mean those politicians who make the decisions, of course. But they decided not to come and not to learn how to do it. Thank you so much, Serkan. And Serkan is right. Don't forget to like and support. So we know right now that Europe decided and the United States decided not to involve in Ukraine war because of provoking Russia. So they decided not to demonstrate strength, but also not to get the information that might be useful for their armies of the modern warfare. And we may say, thank you so much, Martin. We may say that right now, it's like if we talk about this modern war, out of countries that are allies to Europe, to the United States, it's only Ukraine. And there are a lot of enemies who know this too, who can use that against you. And they get this experience because they do travel to the front lines, they give their soldiers, they get the information. And well, this is so we see that like no facilities, no on ground experience. Now another problem is Donald Trump. If you even if you support him and there are some things that you like about him, then you have to understand that his policy towards Ukraine and towards many other countries is extremely absurd and illogical. He says a lot of very primitive things that demonstrate his level of intellect. When he asks questions why nobody likes Putin, there are a million reasons why, even if killing innocent Ukrainian children is not one, there are a lot. Then there must be another saying that Putin did not fight in the Second World War. Russia and Soviet Union did not lose 51 million people. That is absurd. And most importantly, we're talking about the things that took place like 80 years ago. So they do not have any connection to the modern Russia and the fascism it brought back here. Numerous times, Trump was asked, will he be ready to use Article 5 to protect some countries? What was his answer? Always very vague. Do you realize that it's very likely that when... Okay, a question. Let me know. Do you think that if Russia attacks Estonia or Latvia, Trump will send American soldiers? Nobody, never. Who will? Who will send the soldiers? Ukraine will. I guarantee you that Ukraine will send Ukrainian soldiers and Ukrainian drone units, whatever can help the Baltics, because we feel their support. We love these countries. They are our friends. Macron, I'm not sure. Macron may have some problems in 2 years, in a year inside, because what Russia does right now, it sponsors various pro-Russian movements, like Le Pen, for example. She may not participate, but people who support her. Maybe Britain, maybe. Israel, I doubt. EU doesn't have a joint army. There is no joint EU army. President Zelensky spoke about that. And greetings to Lithuania. I am forever grateful to these people, to Latvians, Estonians, but we have to be also realistic. There are a lot of pro-Russian people, for example, in Latvia, and Russia invests a lot of money in that. And why, like, greetings to Estonia. So the thing is that it's super important. I also believe surrounding countries, Eric, it's a very tricky comment, because the surrounding countries of the Baltics are Belarus and Russia. And one of the interesting moments is that in case of any danger, Um, South Korea says they won't help Ukraine, and they have elected a new president that is a great Russia sympathizer. For example, the new Polish president says that he does not want Ukraine in EU and NATO. We have to be realistic. It was 50-50 in Romania, really difficult. Now the elections are coming in Moldova, and they will do everything to destabilize the parliamentary elections. They say in Czechia the situation is tricky because one of the pro-Russian politicians has a really great support. What Russia does right now, it's with interference. It tries to, interfere in the political situation and in countries that it has some influence on, and to surround Ukraine, the Baltics, with countries that are Russia sympathizers. I don't mean countries, people will not change their opinion that quickly, but they try to shake the situation and to bring pro-Russian politicians, like we already have in Hungary and Slovakia. Do you think this simplifies the life of Ukraine? How many good things Orban has already blocked for us? And this is happening. This is what actually very problematic for us already. It brought a lot of problems. So, do you know this Swalki Gap? Everybody's talking about that. And I spent some time to analyze where is it, what is it. I've had a lot of times about it, but do you know what is this Swalki Gap? Swalki Gap is a very small territory, that is a gap, literally, that's why it's called Swalki Gap, between Poland and Lithuania. And it connects Poland and Lithuania. But it is also between Russia and Belarus. And Russia always wanted to connect Belarus and Kaliningrad. You are right. That's the way, because Kaliningrad is isolated. So Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are very brave countries, but they are not big. And Kaliningrad is separated from the rest of Russia since the Second World War. But as you can guess, it's not a railway track. It's a big, like, I don't know how many, like, kilometers, but like maybe someone can help me. The Poland would smash. Why? Poland does not have drone troops. Poland does not have a lot of men willing to conscript. When they have surveys inside, many men say they would move to other EU countries in case they are mobilized forcefully. Thank you so much, Willa Rock. I would like to know, maybe someone can Google. Thank you so much to Balkane. This Russia has always spoken about its dream to connect Kaliningrad to Belarus, and to describe it, Swalki Gap is 65 kilometers for 40 miles. So you can guess, it's not difficult for them to take this territory. What is also bad, Kaliningrad, since the times of the Cold War, is full of Iskander missiles. Maybe they have nuclear weapons there. They have everything there. And it has a lot of troops, like 15,000 people located in Kaliningrad already, because Russia always spoke that Kaliningrad is surrounded by enemies. But what you also have to understand is the Swalki Gap is the only road that connects the Baltics to its NATO allies in Poland. So when Baltics need some support, they need this road. They need this road for NATO troops, for Polish army, for any backup, for logistics to move to Lithuania and upwards. And if Russia takes this part, the Baltics are surrounded. And to surround them, Russia needs 65 kilometers. Do you remember the start of the invasion of Ukraine? They moved way faster than 65 kilometers per day. And Belarus is nearby, and Russia is nearby. Now, we had do you remember we had Donald Trump once asked about the Baltics, and if Putin wants to take the Baltics, will Article 5 be applied? I've seen that video myself where he says, oh, that's such a complex question. It's great. We have a person who lives in Swalki Gap, and well, I can tell you I'm in Ukraine and I'm not afraid. I don't know, is it our character or is it something different? Is it like bravery or is it logics? I don't know. Well, it's so cool that you're watching us from exactly the place we're talking about. I wish we would take like free Kaliningrad and return it where it belongs, because it's definitely not naturally Russian. But the problem is that Donald Trump is traitor to its allies, and Putin senses that, and Putin will push. Thank you so much, Willa Rock. And Putin push as much as he can. He wants to use this. He wants to use this possibility, because, look, it's obvious that negotiations between Russia and Ukraine are not working. It's obvious. During these negotiations, the number of attacks on Ukraine grew tremendously. Do you remember, like, Sumy attack, when they killed lots of innocent people who went to the church before the Palm Sunday? These things are so quickly forgotten. And they did a lot. And American senators prepared lots of sanctions that could actually seriously harm Putin. And no one is going to do that. And Trump does everything. Trump does everything to, freeze the sanctions, to prevent everyone from making Russia any problems. And that is serious. Because right now, Donald Trump is playing for Putin. There is a phrase that I find not very funny, but I come across it quite often on X. And it's about like, well, finally, when you accept that Donald Trump is for Russia, everything gets its logic. Right now, he openly protects Russia. I know that he wants Ukraine to surrender, Ukraine to become Russia. He would be very happy. Why he hates Zelensky, why he hates people like me, is that because we don't surrender. He is dumb enough to understand that after Ukraine, there will be other countries. And if the unity is broken, if the strength of NATO is undermined, it will be very difficult to react. And Putin will definitely try to demonstrate that NATO is not working. This is his war against NATO. Unfortunately, this is not the NATO war against Russia as they describe. Because when we talked about, yes, I think Russia will think about attacking NATO, because NATO does not function as one alliance anymore. Because in NATO, you have Hungary. In NATO, you have even Turkey, that feels very different about a lot of aspects. In NATO, you have the United States that right now have very different thoughts about everything. So yes, and I think that NATO does not possess modern knowledge. NATO is prepared to fight the war in the 90s, not in the 2025. And it is not about It is not about only nuclear weapons, because I loved watching some experts talking about Ukrainian spider web operation. And Ukrainian spider web operation that destroyed like 41 Russian cruise missile carriers was the demonstration of the fact that a lot of things are now outdated, and many nuclear countries that thought they are strong because they are nuclear lost this priority. They are dinosaurs. NATO needs Ukraine. I totally agree with you, and I'm not exaggerating that. NATO needs Ukraine. I'm not exaggerating. I think that Trump thinks differently from the majority of America, because I have a lot of great friends and supporters, and like a big half of our community is from the United States. And I actually worry for you too, because there are a lot of bad things and bad videos happening. I'm not talking about that because, first of all, I don't want to offend you with my lack of knowledge, and second, because I have Ukraine to talk about, and not so many people talk about that. But we have to be united, and we have to be alert, because this time of chaos, this time of danger, is when Russia can try and ask Iran, where is Russia? Iran received security guarantees from Russia. It's not the first time, actually. Russia betrays everyone. But in this case, like, there are no good, like Iran, Russia, there is no one you can worry for. But I have a question to you. This is something that, like, I know it's so, by the way, on my new channel, and I hope you subscribe to this new channel, Anna Danilchuk, and maybe I forgot about the task Rudy gave me, and I will add it to the description, but could you drop a link to my new channel? And I will share the video there today, where I speak about the topic that I did not want to touch for a long period of time. And these are nuclear weapons, and the fact that like, we had them and we gave them up for the security guarantees. Thank you so much, Philip. And you're so funny. Build up navies. Like, we have just Black Sea. The Sea of Azov is occupied, and Russia has Far East, and it will keep targeting us with Iskander missiles. How will our warships help us with that? It's like a war. Like, the majority of harm that Russia does, it's with missiles, and people do not stop missiles above the Ukrainian heads as they do in Israel, for example. Thank you so much, George. Thank you. Yeah, uncomfortable but important topics. Nobody closed the skies. Everybody sees how these rockets destroy our houses and says, like, we are concerned. We are also concerned. And okay, so I speak more about these nuclear weapons there and what Ukraine gave. I do not focus on security guarantees and Budapest Memorandum. Nobody likes to hear about that, but and what is interesting is that, first of all, here in Ukraine, people are way less worried about the nuclear strike. Let me tell you why. First of all, there are two types of nuclear weapons: tactical and strategic. Strategic are huge, that destroy like a couple of cities. And tactical are smaller, and they destroy, for example, 3 kilometers. Tactical nuclear weapons have 3 kilometers area. Kyiv is way bigger, way, way bigger. But guys, what you don't want to see is, for example, when Russia focuses on a particular town or settlement that it wants to take, like Vovchansk, that was like 20,000 population people. And there were days when Russia dropped 100 cabs on that Vovchansk. A cab has 500 kilos of explosives. So the harm that 100 cabs did to Vovchansk in a day was way bigger than one tactical nuke. A lot about nuclear weapons is also a part of like fear strategies. In many parts of the front line, they do worse things than tactical nuclear weapons. That's what many don't want to think about. For then, second, there are lots of Russian nuclear weapons that were not tested. Guys, not break Ukrainian spirit, but if they keep bombing us and we don't have air defense and they keep getting supplies from Iran, North Korea, China, and we get nothing, and the United States do not impose sanctions on Russia, our spirit will end with people. We are not like endless. We are not endless. There are cases. If you left alone and Russia is backed up by trustworthy allies, I'm sorry, but it looks like that, with no changes of attitudes. They did not elect a new president in China who decided to support Ukraine instead of Russia. This did not happen. Happened the contrary. They did not elect a president in China that supports Ukraine and wants to destroy Russia. But a different thing happened in the United States. Iran may fall for a very long period of time. That may be a very long war. And Israel didn't help us. Like, it's a smaller country. Our sizes are very different. And Israel is under constant attacks. If not Iran, someone else. They will not share. I think it's not very logical that Israel shares air defense with Ukraine instead of some other countries that don't need it. Thank you so much, Serkan. So, cheers to you. Another thing that can make you, thank you so much to Bai Kane. I think our task, thank you. So once again, there are lots of bad things happening. Also, you cannot constantly live in this nuclear terror that nuclear countries can do whatever they want just because they say, I have nukes, surrender. And if Ukrainian sovereignty is compromised and Russia gets us, what will stop China from expanding? What will stop China from saying, like in 20 years, that Australia is Chinese? They have nuclear weapons, Australia does not. And I am talking about Russian economy a lot, but with Iran war and rising prices on oil, Russian economy can get better. So we cannot only hope that economy will fall. We have to arm Ukraine. Right now, Ukraine is the only one fighting against China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea for the values of the Western civilization. And unfortunately, the number of supporters of Russia grow and the number of Ukraine supporters gets smaller. Thank you so much, Daniel, Pat, and Delgua. Thank you for buying me coffees and your support. Don't forget to like stream. That's a good advice. Maybe we can get 1,000 likes. That would be great. I'm talking about tough topics and people don't like liking them. I totally understand it, but we have to discuss. Yes, I think Russia will open the second front because this will be a tiny, tiny front that they can take really quickly and demonstrate to NATO that it's not united, that it's not an alliance, and that Hungary will not fight for Estonia, and the United States will say, We don't want a war. Well, let's make a deal. It's not a big part of territory. Give it to Russia. That's a good deal. That's, I think, what will happen. And this is actually what I wanted to say. That this is what I wanted to say. In the world of drone warfare, in the world, but okay, it's a little bit different. Ukraine is a very united country, and right now, NATO and unfortunately EU do not demonstrate this unity. Any country can veto the decision. And right now, the United States, for example, don't want to sign just like notices where they condemn Russian aggression with G7. So what will happen if Hungary vetoes the attack? If Donald Trump starts saying, no, I'm against that, there will be lots of countries who will say, Ukraine is one country acting as one country, very united. Guys, I'm speaking it that way because my part of the world was actually sacrificed after the Second World War. After the Second World War, Soviet Union occupied Ukraine, Moldova, the Baltic countries. They were independent before the Second World War. They had their country. And it is the thing that happened. We've experienced that. And how did Churchill describe that? The Iron Curtain fell. And I have to tell you, I have subscribers from different countries with whom I may exchange some conversations, and they will say, well, but you do have to understand, we did not feel that bad when you were in Soviet Union. It was so far away. And many will think like that. Many will think like that when something happens to a smaller NATO country. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. But it may be that I'm right. And no, the war will not end if Putin goes, because there are millions who support that. In every Russian tank, there is a Russian, not Putin. And one more thing that especially those who are super worried about the nuclear weapons have to keep in mind. With drones, that, for example, if we don't speak about spiderweb, this is already what Israel did, attacking Iran from Iran territory. It's not difficult to smuggle a drone to a country. It's not difficult to construct that drone in your enemy country. And drones can do a lot to various nuclear facilities too. And to tell you the truth, what all people in Ukraine were more concerned about all this time, especially in 2023, it was a lot of, in 2022, there were a lot of talks of potential nuclear attacks. We did not think they will use a missile. We thought they would target a nuclear power plant. And they actually did that with Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. They constantly shell some artillery. There were drones falling on the territory of Zaporizhia nuclear power plant. Friends, and this may happen to any country. And this also means that those countries that have drones but don't have nuclear weapons, theoretically, may have nuclear weapons when targeting these drones on nuclear power plants or something like that, and that will be evil. That will be evil. And why is it happening? Same as for example, the discovery of the nuclear weapons. How did it happen? Again, because of the Second World War. The Second World War inspired this competition of armament. Remember to like and we will get 1,000 likes. That was the reason. Iran did not support Russia from Iran. Unfortunately, Iran and his scientists and lots of their facilities were relocated to Russia long ago because Iran and Russia are located far away. So these developments they already have on the Russian territory. There is no big hole in the container cover at Chernobyl. You cannot hit that container cover that easily, and it was designed to withstand nuclear attacks. But there are always things that may happen. And this year, thank you so much, Martin, for reminding about this 300 billion frozen Russian assets. These are money of our murderers. You could give Ukraine, you could transform them in weapons. We could buy weapons from your manufacturers. Why not? Why protect bloody Russian money on the territories of the European Union? Why do they protect this money more than they protect Ukrainian lives? Honestly, do you think I'm always feeling that like happy and I don't see that? And lots of people in Ukraine don't understand that. Are we that stupid? Why are they protecting this bloody money more than Ukrainian children? Well, a sea drone take down 2 aircraft and 2 helicopters, yes. But what does it mean? Like, yes, it did. But there are lots of aircraft, lots of drones, and lots of missiles. They cannot take the missiles or drones and KO with marine drones. It's all very different. So it's very, very unjust. And there are a lot of moments when Ukrainian people are very disappointed. And here where Russian propaganda comes to play. Don't you think, like, we very often speak about this Russian propaganda in your countries, how Russian propaganda tries to interfere, how Russian propaganda tries to distort your decisions. But don't you think they don't try to penetrate in the Ukraine society? That's exactly what they also do. And what they will say, they will say that, you see, your Western friends betrayed you. They do not shoot down Russian missiles above your heads. They do it for Israel. They don't do it for Ukraine. They have 300 billion Russian dollars and they will return back to Russia. They don't care about Ukraine because they still want to do Russian business. That's what they constantly tell us. We just try not to think about that because we know they are the enemy. But they do send such messages. They do send similar messages into the Ukrainian society, trying to demonstrate they will always betray you. Look, Donald Trump has just congratulated Russia with the Russian Day. Oh, why should they return Russian money if a modern Russian regime is similar to Nazi? I don't remember them returning to Nazi money. Don't you think that Russia destroyed more than 300 billion of everything in Ukraine? So we have to simply be thankful to, or what? I don't understand. It's a very primitive question then. Don't you know that the war is more important than the battle? But what war are you part of? I'm defending my country, Ukraine, the only country here in Europe that has the real war right now. Do you just fight your own battles? What's the question? What exactly battles, huh? What world should I speak? And the world? Does the world speaks now enough about Ukraine? I'm sorry. So, this, trust me, Putin, Russia, and his comrades, they see this weakness, this indecisiveness, that nobody touches their billions, that Donald Trump protects them from new sanctions, that negotiations last. Why? while Ukrainian cities are bombed, they see it. They see it and they understand it. And they will use the opportunity because the weakness is always green light for new attacks. Tell me, please, a question and maybe then a couple of questions and we will finish. Do you now think that to let Putin annex Crimea without any real global time, that was the first time that this escalation management approach was used? So escalation management, do you think it worked, taking into account the experience with Crimea? I would like to see your decision. Do you think that was right? Because what we see now is just the same attitude, but on a larger scale. What we see right now is the same on a larger level. To hope that the situation will settle down somehow. It cannot settle down somehow. Such wars, such conflicts do not settle down. Do not settle down because people want to satisfy Donald Trump's ego or something like that. This does not work at all. I have some hopes for a new German Chancellor Merz. We feel the support of people of Britain. I like some words of Macron, and of course the Baltic countries. They are always close to us and they realize what danger Russia is, and the Nordics. And once again, lots of people in the United States. I know how difficult it is for you. And here in Ukraine, going through the time of Yanukovych, we know that government or president is not always the representative of the people. And of course, Denmark and Sweden and Finland, like we have a lot of people from South Africa in the community and so on. So I have hope in us, and I believe that only our decisiveness and lack of fear may work. And let's try like blitz questions. Let's have like 5 questions that I will answer quickly, and I will let you enjoy your Saturday. So I think that Russia will be ready to attack NATO in a year or two because they will use the moment of America's weakness with Donald Trump. God, like when I think about every quality of his, I don't know how is it possible that he's the president of the United States, starting from his appearance, finishing with his history, with the way he speaks with people. It's just something that I don't comment on that, but I cannot accept that. I cannot understand it. It's such a mockery. So please, let's answer some questions. Can I still eat oranges? Yes, I don't associate oranges with Donald Trump. Plus, the more I eat, the better. I am very grateful. There are lots of people in our community in South Africa, and that's actually very surprising. And I'm happy that there are many of you. I'm drinking my favorite Ukrainian gas water. It's orange and peach, and it's a mineral water without added sugar. So it's kind of the one that I like. I don't know how long people in Ukraine will last, depending on whether we will have weapons, because you remember when Donald Trump stopped the supplies of weapons for 9 months, that was the reason why we lost Avdiivka, and also that was the reason why we lost thousands of people. And the problems with conscription were actually because people joined the army and they didn't have weapons to fight with. And, Budapest Memorandum and other stuff, they promised not just the weapons, but actually support and defense of Ukrainian territorial integrity. And then when the situation arose, they didn't want to give even. And right now, Trump does not want to sell, not just support, but to sell weapons to Ukraine, which is a great issue and is open demonstration of his Russia support. The electricity in my city is okay. We don't have electricity outages right now. They typically do not do it during summer. They love doing that in winter when it's get darker. Elia. No, many Ukrainians did not hope that Trump will create peace. I heard about this phenomenon among Ukrainian and Polish diaspora, but this was not true about people in Ukraine. But we felt he would be elected, and nothing can be changed. Is reading sexy? Yes, of course, reading is very sexy. And because right now Trump is playing fully Russia, and he spoke 1 hour with Putin on his birthday, and he does not understand why people hate Putin, and he does not want sanctions to be imposed. And during all this negotiation process, all the restrictions were put only on Ukraine that defends itself, but not on Russia. That's why. Greetings to Istanbul. I would love to visit your city. I know it's very beautiful, and it's actually not that far away. Hopefully, after we return Crimea, I have this dream that many Turkish companies will come and develop Crimea. And because like your resorts are known in the world, and I think that would be a very good collaboration, and good for strengthening this like normal good relations between our countries. Israel's success in Iran will partially benefit Ukraine because they may have problems, like Iran is Russia's ally, but it will also lead to rising prices on oil, and that is good for Russia. That is what is already happening. We had like 56 for a barrel, and now we have 76, which is skewed for Russia. Yes, there. Will Ukraine be a part of European Union? Ukraine wants to be a part of the European Union, but now lots of countries like Hungary, like Slovakia, and the new Polish president do not want Ukraine to be the European Union. I guess we do not deserve. Okay. Thank you so much for your kind words and comments. And thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm sorry that I was not so optimistic today, but I think that it is super important to talk about the real problems which occur, because once again, if Ukraine is not supported with ammunition, if Donald Trump does not want to impose sanctions or releases the existing sanctions, if Russian economy gets better, guys, it's logical. The first thing that I will do after the war is over, I will travel a lot around the world. I will visit Peru. Thank you so much. Greetings to Illinois. And thank you so much for all this things that you're saying, and that you are tolerant when I'm a little bit more emotional. And stay strong, because I know there are a lot of challenging things in your life too. And there are a lot of political, cultural, economic problems that we all face. Once again, because unpunished evil grows, we have a lot of problems and conflicts around the world. And I do blame Russia for that. These are the consequences of the escalation management and of weakness. And of course, we have ups and downs, but I would love the situation to be the country. I would love China chose a president who supports Ukraine and does not support Russia. I would love all of that happen in a different direction. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Once again, thank you for helping accomplish the fundraiser. This is what really works, and this is the amazing work of our community and NEFU community. I'm very proud that they invite us and that we demonstrate them this strength and unity and results. I will report to you more after the delivery happens. And also remember to subscribe to my new channel, because a new video about Ukraine's nuclear weapons, and I promise you that's interesting and you will know my opinion. Well, they can be uninvented. Watch the video. subscribe to that channel, follow me on other social media platforms. I did not advertise that much, but keep in mind that we have a new collection in our merch shop, and it's dedicated to summer and also to spider web. I'm sure lots of these t-shirts can become historical, same as the operation. I'm very proud of SBU, everyone is. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. That is really great. And thank you for being friends, for standing against the evil in your countries, for standing with Ukraine. This is a decisive war. This is very important. And it's not just about Ukraine, and I know that you know that. I'm always grateful for your comments, for your likes, for your shares. This helps us fight against the evil, and we must prevail. Come on, guys. There is no other option. Thank you that you like my new channel, and I want to have 12,000 friends there. Can we make it? Thank you. And once again, thank you for the amazing moderators, to Spencer and to Marty and to Philip and to Rudy and to Michael. And Neil, thank you for cheering people to like. And remember that today is not just Donald Trump's day. There are a lot of other good people who celebrate. Let them be strong. Let them be happy. And remember to subscribe to my new channel that Philip has just shared. Thank you once again for your prayers, for your thoughts, for your understanding, for all the conversations that you hold with your politician. This works, especially with politicians who are covered, and you know that. So thank you so much, and Slava Ukraini!